Hi, welcome back to the Colorblind Architect Podcast. I'm your host, David Clayton, and welcome to my home. I'm not in my car today, but it's actually quiet in the house today. The children are at school, my wife is at work, and although I'm also working, I'm working from home today, and it's nice and peaceful and quiet. You might also notice I'm sitting in front of the famous Gadsden flag, the Don't Tread on Me flag. It's one of my favorite flags. Has a great history. It's from the Revolutionary War, and I've just always loved the message of it. Um, for me, I've always been someone who really seeks after freedom. I love having freedom. And that's the topic that I want to discuss today, is the idea of what it means to actually be free. And I'm going to start from the beginning. When I was a kid, obviously I was a hellraiser. My mom can attest to this. I was pretty bad. Constantly throwing temper tantrums, constantly getting into trouble because I was so convinced that I had to do it my way. Um, my wife might even say that I probably still do that a little bit, but you kind of mellow out, as you age. You 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 find yourself being a little bit more accepting of um, doing things that maybe you don't want to do just because you realize that it's important to do them. But for me, like I said, I was always just obsessed with having freedom. I hated being told what to do. And therein lies the problem. So we've got a society, the United States of America, and also a global society where, in general, um, we've all been seeking freedom for a long time. And we seek for it in ways that sometimes is counterproductive. I'll give an example. When I was a teenager, there was a period of time when I became a bit wayward, you might say. I was a bit rebellious. I grew up in a fairly religious home. We believed strongly in um, keeping the rules and reading our scriptures and not doing drugs or alcohol or anything like that. And of course, I was a teenager. I was rebellious, and I was getting into some of that stuff. I was doing drugs. Well, specifically, I was smoking marijuana and smoking tobacco as well. The I played a little bit with alcohol, and that was kind of where it stopped. Actually, the alcohol is what really woke me up, and I'll explain. So, by the time I tried alcohol, it was at around the time that I was turning 18, and I went, you know, I was hanging out with friends. We were drinking beers and stuff, and it tasted disgusting. But if you get that little buzz, and it feels kind of fun, And then I get invited to a party. Me and a couple friends, we go to this party, and it was a massive party, just tons of alcohol everywhere. Everybody underage too. Everybody was like 18 years at, and so it was like, it was obviously uh, not supervised the way it should have been. And during that, I drank enough that I became quite inebriated. Um, Lost control of myself. What little I can remember of it, I can remember that I was being guided to do things that I did not want to do. And I could hear other people laughing, but I couldn't stop myself from doing the things that I was being directed to do. And I remember after the hangover the next morning wore off and I came to my senses, I swore never again. And the reason why is because I realized that in that instance when I was inebriated, I was not free. That really bothered me. It really bothered me that I was in a state where I could not control myself. I did not have the faculty to choose for myself. Instead, other people were making me do stuff. So, you might say, but Dave, I mean, come on. Just, you learn to control yourself. Again, why? Why would I want to inebriate myself to the point where I lose control? So let's bring that to the subject of freedom in general. Are there things in our lives that take our freedom away? As a society, are we making choices as a society that takes our freedom away? Are we seeking after things that, yeah, they may be fun, it may provide us enjoyment, but it's not good for us. It takes away our freedom. For example, maybe there's behaviors that cause insanity. And insanity is another one of those forms of a loss of freedom. Now, for those who are truly mentally ill and they have lost their capability of maintaining their own liberty as a result of their mental health, this isn't meant to be a post where I'm denigrating them or throwing shade their way. Mental health is definitely a very difficult subject to deal with. It's a very serious one that obviously, go to a mental health professional, a psychologist or just take care of it, But don't assume that you're free if that mental derangement that you might be experiencing is stopping you from making clear choices. So, again, a couple episodes ago, I talked about the God brain, and I would try to point like some YouTubers do to where the video is. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to set that up in the YouTube thing. So you're just going to have to take my word for it that I've got another episode about the God brain. Watch it. Talk about the difference between the amygdala and the higher brain functions that deal with logic and language. After all, in the scriptures, it says God is the Word, right? Where do you think you're more free? Do you think you're more free where you're subject to fear? Or do you think you're more free when you are making logical choices, you're using your rationality, and you're actually choosing a course of action based on where you think it's going to take you? That, I think, is something that a lot of us really need to consider. That freedom to act does require us to have our mental faculties. So, when it comes to mental health, definitely take care of yourself. Make sure you're doing what you need to maintain a good level of mental health. And that includes abstaining from drugs and alcohol. Possibly even weed. Yes, stay off the weed. It does affect your brain, and we need to be thinking about that as a culture. Let's talk about other addictions. Obviously there's pornography is an addiction. Uh, Chasing after fame and fortune, that's another type of addiction. There's a lot of types of addiction that will keep you from being able to be as free as you may want to. And so, how do you do this? How do you maintain freedom? Well, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it unless you can maintain some kind of moral code. And that moral code, whatever it is, however you arrange that moral code, needs to be something that works for you, needs to be something that's powerful enough for even in the weakest days, you can say no to the things that you know will cause you to go off the rails and to lose your freedom. Now you might be saying, but Dave, I love doing pleasurable things. I love seeking after pleasure. Well, yeah, that's one of the eternal struggles, is that battle between hedonism and godliness. It's not an easy battle, and that's why so many people struggle with it. And so where does that leave us as a country? We've got a whole society of people who have given themselves over to hedonism. They're seeking after pleasure instead of seeking after the things of truth and of goodness and of honor and virtue. And I don't necessarily blame them, because like I said, it is really, really freaking hard to want to be so strong and solid in following a moral code. And like I said, this has nothing to do with God. This has everything to do with a moral code. How do you stay on the straight and narrow so that you can maintain a maximum level of liberty for yourself? And that you can also maintain a maximum level of goodness for yourself, so that you're not falling into these traps, these pits, these places where you fall into a pit of, whether it be debt or drug addiction or whatever it is. These pits, they cause you to fall down and you are stuck. And now you have to climb yourself out. So instead of continuing your upward climb, your upward trajectory on achieving your higher goals, you're stuck dealing with the same stupid problems that you've been dealing with your whole life. Whatever that, let's call it a sin, but whatever that trap is for you that is keeping you from achieving your goals, you need to create some sort of moral system that allows you to overcome that. Some kind of set of rules that you follow. So for me, like I said, that day after that party, I made a vow to myself. I made a promise to myself that I would never drink alcohol ever again. I've kept that promise. It's now been, 23 years since the last time I had any alcohol. Now, am I the spitting image of health and vitality? No, of course not. I've got other vices that keep me from achieving my goals. And I think we'll always have vices that we are fighting and trying to overcome. But one step at a time. You gotta start. You gotta find the thing that you can deal with. As Jordan Peterson talks about, he always talks about cleaning your room, right? And that's a great first step. Why? Because it's relatively easy. All you have to do is just pick up your clothes, clean up your toys, or whatever it is. Just you you clean up your room, and it's something that you control. And that's a great feeling when you've completed cleaning your room and you feel that sense of pride and happiness, that sense of control over an aspect of your life. And so we have to do that as a people as well. Each individual needs to turn their life over to God. Even if you don't believe in God, you need to turn yourself over to, if cleanliness is godliness, right? So that's one way you can look at it. If God is the Word, or logos, logic, right? If that is God, right? Then turn yourself over to reason. But whatever you do, start taking control of your life, because in the way I view it, God is a God of control, not chaos. In other words, we aim to be under control. Anyways, this message, I hope you enjoyed. I'm the colorblind architect. Peace out.